I had a Kundalini awakening 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Since then, I've had awakenings, and that's been deepening and bringing up a lot of stuff and clearing out.
Yeah.
Pretty rough at times, and also extremely beautiful.
Yeah.
And I haven't been in a relationship for 8 years, and right now I have a new boyfriend.
So you haven't been in a relationship for 8 years?
No, I didn't feel the need at first at all, because I was just so in love with myself and with what I had experienced as the oneness, and and later I gradually was longing for company, for a partner, and but I knew that I would want one who would be suitable also on a spiritual level to a certain degree. I don't know, but so I met someone, and we are together now for 3 months, so it's quite young.
Yeah.
But there,
I just want to stop you before you carry on speaking, just to check with you that you're okay to share. Like, I don't want you to share and then feel traumatized by it, or I don't want you to share and then realize afterwards that you're talking about your new partner online and then regret it. Just just being conscious that there is an audience, and this is being recorded. I just say this just to make sure that that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the moment it started, there was just so much love and recognition on a deep level, and there were also deep pain. Was also deep pain coming up, and I realized from the beginning that we have, I think it is a codependent dynamic. So I was very aware of it. I thought I was very aware of it. And try to stay out of it as much as I could, and also mention it to him. And it was really, really beautiful and so nice together. And now I'm a bit more aware of what I will share and what I won't, but I'll just share what I think is necessary. A couple of weeks back, we started triggering each other a lot.
We started to what? Sorry?
Triggering each other.
Right.
Yeah, and since then, most of the times that we met, something happened that triggered one of us, and then the other responds also in such a way, in a very triggered state. And I feel that the pain body is very active then. Sometimes I can be aware of what's happening and stay in the more zoomed out space. Now it has happened so much that we both decided to be apart for a while. And I think that's very healthy, but it's so very painful. And also confusing, because I don't know anymore what is healthy love and what is from this lack, from this lack of parental care or whatever.
Yeah, I think this is something that's most probably on a lot of people's minds. Like how you are in relationship with this awakening and with this realization, like how to handle relationships. Ramesh Balsekar, one of my teachers, used to say, you know, the problem comes from relationships. But we're always in relationship with things. We're in relationship with the trees, with the plant, with the environment, with the house. But the people, it's a lot more intense because they speak back. They're a lot more interactive, so it feels a lot more intense. But it's a really fascinating thing to explore. And for me, and I think for other teachers as well, will quite happily admit that they also get triggered in relationship, that doesn't necessarily leave. And for me, the way that I see relationships is, how to deal with relationships is understanding the psychology of yourself and the other and striving to improve your psychology.
Yes.
And that's like a lifelong endeavor. And there's lots of different ways you can do that. There's so much on the internet now about learning about your psychology. One book that I would recommend is something called Attached. I forget who it's by, but it's on my website under the reference page. It's not by me. I'm not promoting it for my own benefit. It's just a really beautiful book about attachment styles. I don't know if you've ever read or listened to this, but for some of us, like I had problems relating to people because of early childhood issues. And so for some of us, relationships are a struggle because we weren't taught the correct way in how to relate. And that's actually different from non-duality, because you can have great awakening and great freedom and not be attached to the personality, but yet you still can't navigate communication very well because you've not learned how to communicate properly and associate blame properly, which is also really difficult in relationship to non-duality, because like Roger, my teacher, would say there is no blame, which is true. Like there is no blame which is associated to hate, but in relationship it's important to say this is your fault or this is my fault, or take responsibility. And sometimes when you've had difficulty in childhood, you find that a struggle, and so you get into this dynamic where you're not sure what's going on, or you get very lost in dynamics, like you don't really understand, so you ignore it, or you don't deal with it, or you over deal with it. And so my advice would be to go and seek one-to-one counsel over it. Like I still now to this day, if I'm having relationship issue with anyone, with my partner, with my parents, or family members, I will still go and seek one-to-one counsel, because I know that it's great to have an outside perspective, you know, from someone that you trust, whether that be a friend, whether that be someone you pay, but somebody that's got a good grip on relationships and how to communicate well and how to have healthy dynamics. And, you know, it's just so amazing when you meet somebody, when you meet a partner that, or you come together in a relationship where you're both prepared to hold each other's stuff and grow from it on the human level. But don't expect non-duality to sort this out. I used to be of the perspective that if I had this realization, it would sort out relationships. It does to an extent. I think it makes relationships easier, but it can also exacerbate stuff. You know, I became very, very passive after the awakening, and that's not good in relationships. Like that also creates problems in relationships, being too passive. And because there was after that also created problems in relationships. Like relationships are funky chicken dances, you know. If you have an awakening and you don't have very strong wants, and then you've got a partner that has very strong wants, then easily what can happen is that their wants are going to dominate yours, which also isn't healthy. Then there can be, like you say, triggering, where you both become very reactive or something, where you're trying to establish boundaries. You know, you've learned that you didn't have strong enough boundaries, so then you over-establish boundaries. So there's all these different things that can happen. So my advice to anyone out there is seek outside counsel, you know, read books about psychology, and it's very much psychology that you want to investigate. There's another channel on my reference page called Psychologist in Seattle, which is a YouTube channel which looks at, it's quite funny actually, but it's also really sweet and really informative and amazing. It looks at reality TV shows and relationships that people have on reality TV shows to talk about healthy relating. So he's a couples therapist, and it's really cool to watch people relating, and then he gives commentary about how you could relate in a more healthy way, and what is unhealthy and what isn't, and what would be a better outcome. Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, what is avoidance, what isn't avoidance. So there's all these different tools.
Yeah.
But what the difference is in awakening, so after this realization's happened, is that there isn't seeking for freedom in that. Your partner is not going to give you freedom. Your partner is going to be great joy, is going to be like beautiful things on the human level. So there's lots of beautiful things, but there's also difficult things in relating as well. But it's not your freedom. Your freedom is always the emptiness of what is. It's always the consciousness which is experiencing now. And that doesn't mean not being triggered by each other, but it can loosen the triggers, it can loosen the intensity, because them behaving in a certain way or empathizing with you in a certain way isn't your freedom. But it also doesn't mean accepting things that aren't appropriate from another person.
Yeah, I really recognize what you said about having no wants. And he has a lot of wants. And I surrender to it and go with it. And now I realize that it's not, that's going far too much out of my center. And
yeah.
And when I have boundaries, it's very difficult for him.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and
I know a lot.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I know a lot about attachment, and but living it, then you still get confused.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why it's good to have outside counsel that you can speak to regularly about it, because it's so say if they have strong wants and you don't, just be conscious that they will have picked somebody that doesn't have strong wants, more than likely. I know it seemed that seems like an unimaginable thing, that they could be that intelligent to do that, but they will have checked you out on the first date, the first time they ever spoke to you, to see what they could get away with or what they couldn't. So that is going to be something that will never go away in them, and they're not going to like, unless they decide to expand and grow from that and see that dynamic, and they're not going to like it if you do set boundaries. And so then it's coming back to what you want in the end in relating. Is that acceptable? But that's me giving a really simplistic diagnosis of that. But that's generally my experience of it, is that people will seek out, if they've got strong wants, they'll seek out somebody with loose wants. And and that's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it's it's just seeing what is acceptable for you and what isn't, and then how you communicate that with them and navigate that with them.
Yes, it's very good to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And he also, it's confusing because he says he wants to sit with me and be in silence and sink into the non-duality. That's very much his longing also. So it's a bit twofold, but it's not. I cannot be his
mother.
Yeah, his mother. Yeah. So I already have counseling, but it's more also non-dual therapy. And I think what you're saying is also maybe look for a specific more from a attachment style.
Yeah. Because maybe in non-dual therapy, they're not so interested in going into this with you, but go more into attachment styles when it comes to relating. Yeah.
I was thinking a bit in that direction as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure, Marika. Thank you for being so vulnerable and open. It's beautiful speaking with you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.